name's Alex Rodriguez, reminding you, you don't need a contractor, you need a team of pros. What's up, guys? This one. How you guys doing? Today we're talking about kitchens, open floor plan, why they cost so much, why it takes so long, and why it's such a pain in the butt to do a kitchen remodel. We're going to talk about it in detail. We're going to go over a lot of information today. You can download the slides later. And remember, we got a show every Tuesday. So I'll be right back and we'll get started with the show. My name's Alex Rodriguez, reminding you, you don't need a contractor, you need a team of pros. What's up, folks? Alex of Bay Cities Construction here. We're talking about kitchen remodeling today. Remember, the first 5 people, like always, that share our stream get a little bit of love from us. We got a bunch of gift cards here to share with you. I love giving these away. So please, even if you're watching on the rebroadcast, share the stream, and we will set you up with some, contact you, Brian will contact you and set you up with one of our gift cards. So let's talk about kitchen remodeling, and floor plans. So here we go. We're going to talk about everything that you need to get an open concept. So we're going to talk about plans and costs and stuff like that. We're also going to talk about why it takes so long, why it costs so much, and what you should do about it. And I'm also going to share with you 3 tricks that I use to get your plans approved, at the very least, to get you started, to get your construction started faster than any other contractor. We talk about some of our projects in Hermosa Beach. In fact, I've got another one. We're going to talk about 3 projects total: Hermosa Beach, Torrance, and Redondo. So let's get started with the show. And like always, please post your comments below. Send us your questions. We answer them live on the air, and we also answer your questions by text after the fact. So if you're watching after the show's ended live, after the live broadcast, we will answer your questions. So don't be shy. Share some questions. Makes the show a lot more fun for everybody involved. So what do you need for an open floor plan? So this is the kitchen we did early this year in Gardena. Beautiful kitchen, open floor plan. One of the cool things, I think one of the big reasons why people want an open floor plan is because the kitchen flows. It flows good, right? You can walk around the island. You can really have the kitchen be a centerpiece of the space, right? And it's a very social setting. When you have people over for the holidays or birthday parties and stuff like that, most people tend to gather in the kitchen. So it's really cool to have a kitchen that is open to the dining room and living room, because it makes the place a lot more social. But you're going to need a few things. You're going to knock down some walls, which means you're going to have some engineering. And there's maybe some pitfalls, you could say, and there's definitely some costs associated with that. So we're going to talk about that too. So this is what this kitchen looked like before. You see those, it was a wall there was a wall between the dining room, kitchen, and living room. And now she looks like this, nice and bright. This was a badass, definitely custom cabinets, badass kitchen. They used tip-top appliances. It looks like a totally different space, right? Look at that. There and there. We did everything, new flooring, everything. So for those of you that are interested, we did a full review of this kitchen in a few episodes before. Episode 1. Oh, wow, okay, yeah. If you go back to episode 1, you want to look at what we did there, you can definitely get that going. Okay, so what you'll need, you're going to need engineering plans, but you're going to need architectural and engineering. If you are in Redondo Beach, actually if you're in Redondo Beach, Torrance, any of the Bay Cities down here, you're going to need a site plan too, which means it's a plan very similar to this that shows your existing house, the existing floor plan, and then what you plan to do to it. So it is a little pricey because you got to pay for that to get that done even before you start construction. Some of you may be buying a house, right? and you want to get started right away, well, this is kind of a lengthy process, okay? And I'm gonna and in my tricks my tricks, I have a couple tricks to help get you started in construction, so you don't have to wait so long to actually start the construction. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. But you will need engineering, architectural engineering, and city representation to get the stuff done, to get it approved, and to get your building permits. So money, let's talk about money. Everybody wants to know how much, and none of the contractors that they call ever want to talk about money. There's a reason they don't want to talk about money. There's a reason that I'm hesitant to talk about money, but I like talking about money. You see, when you first call us, when you first call your contractor, whether it's us, somebody else, you're shopping around for contractors, you want to know what the price is going to be, but you don't know what it's going to look like. If somebody came to me and said, "Hey, I want this kitchen right here," from the beginning, at the beginning, when they first asked me, "Hey, I want to do a kitchen remodel, how much do you think that'll cost?" And you show me this picture, that is a lot easier to have a little bit more accurate ballpark than if I'm just asked the question, "Hey, I want a kitchen remodel," and you show me pictures of your space, because I as your contractor have to convert what I think you're gonna like into like a dollar sign, right? And that's not easy to do, because in the beginning, that first 30 minutes, like let's say you invite a bunch of contractors over to your house and you want them to look at it and give you a estimate, right? That estimate is going to be extremely inaccurate, because they saw what your place looks like, it's true, but they don't know what you want it to look like yet. Okay? And I know some of you have all these, kind of drawings and sketches and some pictures, and that helps. It's cool, but there's no way of really knowing yet until you do a full design, until you quantify what walls are going to be moved and quantify what that impact is going to be. Okay? Determine what walls are going to be moved and quantify the impact on the structure. So, as a general rule of thumb, okay, and this freaks people out. Especially people are thinking, "Hey, I'm going to remodel. I'm going to get this kitchen here for like $50,000 or $60,000." This kitchen right here was over $100,000. I think it was like $120,000, something like that. Okay, and it wasn't just the kitchen. All right, we redid a ton of electrical, put in new windows. That flooring is brand new. And I'll tell you what, I'll buy you a cup of coffee if you can tell me what materials in that flooring. Is it wood? Is it tile? Or is it laminate? By the way, that's a sidebar question. Get a gift card for the Pete's. Get a gift card for the Pete's if you can guess what that flooring was. Anyway, there was a lot of other sections of the house that had to be retrofitted, in addition to the beams and all the other crazy stuff that we had to do to get rid of that freaking wall. Okay, that wall was not easy to get rid of. So, $100,000. You better get ready. Take a deep breath. Bite on a piece of wood or whatever it takes to acclimate yourself to that dollar figure, and be prepared. And I would say be very, very weary of anybody that tells you they can do a remodel, knocking down walls for less than $100K. They probably don't know what they're doing, or they're BSing you because they don't want you to be scared off right away. They want to kind of spend a little bit more time with you and kind of ease you into the 100,000. I'd rather just tell you, "Hey, listen, man, it's $100,000 or more, and if you're okay with that, I can design it to be less money, but it's going to be in that range, just because of all of the stuff that typically gets triggered." Okay, so why does it take so long? Oh, we haven't even talked about how long it takes. You knock down walls, probably 3 months. You don't knock down walls, could be 6, 8, maybe 8 weeks. You knock down walls, it's going to be 3 months. Could be even a little bit more. So why does it take so long? Well, there's a couple of things that are going on at the same time. You got to get plans drawn up, okay? Getting your architectural, so the architectural and engineering plans is kind of a two-phase deal. Typically, the architectural stuff is just the way things look, like the site plan, where it is, the as-built, the site plan, what the room looks like now, all of the codes there's a bunch of notations and all that stuff. We've got some other videos about developing plans that you can go take a look at. But basically, the developing of the plans is, and we do it lightning speed fast, okay? It's 4 weeks to be able to come up with a set of plans that we can send to the city. Then there's the time that it takes to get approved in the city. If you're in Redondo Beach, it's taking 4 weeks now, it could be 6. because Redondo Beach is processing huge projects that are going on. Big apartment projects, a lot of projects over by the water that are happening, and those projects suck up a lot of resources. So unless you're willing to pay the expedited fee, or you take advantage of one of the tricks I'm going to share with you, you're going to be waiting for your plans. I have been able to get some plans approved on a home edition in record time. We're on the kind of like the little final stage. I have to do a couple little corrections, but those plans will have been approved. Took me about 3.5, 4 weeks. Okay, so keep that in mind. Okay, you're going to spend 4 weeks to get the plans done, and probably 6, maybe 8 weeks at the city getting approval. All right, and then construction wise, you're gonna have to deal with all of the infrastructure changes that have to happen. So this is what happens when your plans go to the city, man. This is city government right here. It's gonna take a long time to get your stuff approved. Okay, so down here, this is kind of like how it gets routed. Okay, when I take the plans to the city, or if you want to do it, which I don't recommend as an owner builder, you're gonna go to planning first. Then you're gonna talk to Public Works and see if there's any impact on any of the streets or sidewalks and stuff like that. And then finally, you're going to go to building and safety, to the building department. The building department's going to look at the framing and the structural stuff and see if it conforms, if it's going to be safe. The planning, all they care about is the looks. Are you affecting the neighborhood? Is your project consistent with the neighborhood? That type of stuff. In Public Works, all they care about is that your project doesn't dump water or stuff like that into the streets. Okay, so runoff, things like that. If you're doing a major home addition, or if you are doing a new construction, like a new build, Public Works will be more of an issue because you have to deal with the rainwater and how it gets diverted off your property. Okay, so let's talk about the three tricks, the three tricks that I use to get started with construction faster than anybody else. I got 3 tricks to share with you. All right, number 1, you got to get stuff started. Okay, so what do I mean by that? Or, I mean, it's like, well, man, that's kind of obvious. There's a lot of, 90% of the time, when I am dealing with a customer who just bought a house, okay, and they want to do the remodeling right away, and it's a major remodel. Like I said, you got to do 4 weeks of developing the plans, another 6 weeks, 8 weeks in planning, getting it checked out. So they're paying for the mortgage on this house for 3 months before any work can happen, but not with the Bay Cities construction people. Okay, so what I do is I'm going to divide the plan. I'm going to divide your big project into kind of bite-sized pieces. So if you're going to do, let's say, the kitchen remodel and 2 or 3 bathrooms, I can get your bathroom permits approved over the counter, not a problem. All right, I'll get your floor plans done. I'll put together a job scope, take it down to the city, and get you approved over the counter. Pay the plan check fee, and you are good to go within 24 hours. Okay, so that's my number 1 step. I want to get started with all of the components of your remodel that do not require a permit, or the permits are available over the counter. The bigger project, if you're moving walls in the kitchen or you're reconfiguring another part of your house, I'll go through the regular steps of developing those plans, but I'll get started with your bathrooms. So if you got 2 or 3 bathrooms to do, by the time that those plans are developed, approved, and ready to build, I'll have already finished the bathrooms and a bunch of other stuff. I'll have put in an AC unit in, a tankless water heater, whatever I can get approved over the counter, I'll start right away and get things going. So that's one way to kind of understand how not cheat the system, because that's not right. I'm not doing anything illegal, but I do understand how the system works, and I do understand what can be done at what point in time. So this is one of the advantages of hiring somebody that's local and understands what how to get things moving. Okay, tip number 2. Tip number 2 is you start the design. Your interior design and the designing of the plans are 2 separate things that can be done in parallel. Okay, so what do I mean by that? I mean, I've got my team of architects and engineering doing the plans that are required for, like, moving walls and structural stuff, or if it's a home addition, whatever. I'm doing all of that stuff. At the same time, I got you teed up with my interior designer to pick out your plumbing fixtures, your countertops, your tile arrangements, all of that stuff. So we've got two teams of people working for you at the same time. All right, so you don't have any downtime. We're going to design your thing, pull permits for the stuff that's buildable, and then the guys that are developing the plans will do that at the same time. Okay, so the next tip is once the design's done, you order the materials and have them delivered before you start doing the work. Okay, I'm either delivering to my vendors that are gonna build things out for you, or I'm delivering it to your job site, to your house. Okay, this is really important. You cannot start construction and be ordering stuff at the same time. That is a recipe for disaster. You should not be changing your mind or still selecting stuff during construction. That's a killer. That's a killer. A killer on cost and a killer on time. And for Christ's sake, you're going to give your contractor a heart attack. All right. If you're changing your mind on a daily basis, oh man, it's bad.
We want to say hi to Myron, who's watching.
Hey, Myron. Hey, I want to say hi to Myron. Myron, thanks for joining us. Go ahead and post your questions if you have them. Love to get you in here and get you participating in the show. Okay, my third tip to getting done with construction faster is, for Christ's sake, don't be a DIY. You're not on Flip or Flop. You're not on Save My House. You're not on any of these shows that remodel an entire house in 30 minutes or less, okay? This is real. You'll start doing demo stuff. You don't know what to demo. You'll be demoing stuff you don't need to demo. And then putting all that stuff back together is going to be really expensive. So don't do that. You're not qualified to do this. You're not qualified to operate on yourself. You're not qualified to defend yourself in court. And you're not qualified to remodel your house. Okay? I'm going to tell you a real quick story. Just a real quick story. Probably about 3 or 4 years ago, I was talking to this attorney. It's actually a husband and wife attorney couple. And he wanted to get started with construction. He had remodeled the bathroom. Didn't work out with that contractor. I was talking to him about maybe doing the other bathroom. And as part of the whole deal, he wanted to do the floors, and there was a fireplace. Okay, a fireplace was wrapped in that white PV stone. Many of you guys have seen it in the houses down here in the South Bay. These big old boulders of rock. So this guy, who's an attorney, starts demoing this stuff. And one of the boulders fell off. I mean, he beat it off the wall. It fell off the wall. It landed on his foot, and it broke his foot. He was off work for 2 weeks. Okay, it's a bad move. Another buddy of mine, a buddy of mine, a family friend, big. He's a police officer. He's like 6'3". He's a huge guy, super strong guy. He wanted to build a concrete pad in his backyard. He had about 65 bags of 60-pound concrete. Okay, and he had to lug it up some stairs to get it into the backyard. Long story short, he got about halfway through the pallet that got delivered by Home Depot to his house. He threw out his back. He was off for 2.5 weeks. Just don't do it. Don't do it. There's plenty of people that can do it. You're not going to save any significant amount of money. And if you get hurt, you'll miss the revenue from being at work. Okay. So just don't do it. Just don't do it. Okay. So let's talk about one of our projects, and we're going to talk about how we build stuff and why we do what we do. Okay, so let's get started with Hermosa Beach. All right, so this is probably one of the nicest kitchens. I gotta say, the kitchen I showed you before, we're really proud of it. I really like it, but I think like a kitchen that goes with like a similar taste that I have. This is probably it. And this is a skinny, definitely a house that is very common down here in the South Bay, whether you're in Hermosa, Redondo, even Manhattan Beach. So it's a tall and skinny. For those of you who don't know, that are watching, they're outside of California. This is basically a house that's a big rectangle. It's the kitchen is actually on the second floor, as crazy as that sounds. So this is an open layout deal. This was not always an open layout. I'm going to show you some pictures of what it looked like before, but it encapsulates why people do an open kitchen, right? Basically, you want a nice open floor plan, good flow. You want the windows to be able to let natural light in, those types of things. So this kitchen's from a different angle, same deal. Real nice kitchen. We had to knock down some walls, a couple of walls actually. We absorbed the bedroom that was next door, and converted that into the new dining space. So this is some kind of close-up shots. We did I think a whole layout episode on this too, because this kitchen came out so nice. Episode 2. Okay, look, reference episode 2. Thanks, Brian. So real nice island, cabinetry on both sides. Pretty cool. So you may notice that the cooktop is nice and slick. This is an induction stove. It only gets hot when you put the pan on it. And if you notice, for those of you that don't like sorry, I'm gonna go back here, that don't like having a big old bell for your extractor, this was a massive unit that is flush mounted to the ceiling. It's really cool because you don't have to deal with that big kind of drop down chimney thing, and some people don't dig that. This was a monstrosity of a unit to get installed. It took 4 guys a good part of the day to get that bad boy in. What do we got?
And one little guy.
And one little guy, that's right. We had to have Tomas, one of our short guys, get in the attic and wiggle around in there and attach it. So, like I said, we have a full mock-up here. I just want to give you kind of some different angles to give you an idea of what can be done. Some of the features that you'll see in a lot of our kitchens is we like to have a lot of space between the island and the perimeter cabinetry. Okay, you really don't want to go less than 3 feet. 42 inches is ideal. It'll give you a nice flow. 2 people can go at the same time and not bump each other. So just kind of keep that in mind. That's one of the features of our deal. These were custom cabinets. Every bell and whistle that you could have, these cabinets have. She got a paneled refrigerator, which is crazy expensive. And this is what it looked like before. So, you know, I always say that a kitchen remodel always starts with a kitchen that you can no longer stand to look at. So these cabinets kind of meet that. I actually talked this customer out of IKEA cabinets. She wanted to install this. She wanted to install IKEA cabinets here, and I had to walk her off the ledge. I thought that was a big mistake, because, and I say that not because anything derogatory so much about IKEA cabinets. IKEA cabinets have a place, but this house was on the ocean. It was an ocean view house, tip-top house, top real estate market. For Christ's sake, don't use IKEA cabinets. Okay, there's a location for that. There's a price point that the house will sell at that justifies IKEA cabinets, not this one. So I'm going to talk to you guys about the pitfalls that we experienced. And when we get back, we'll take a quick little break. When we get back, we'll talk about the pitfalls. So don't go away. Stay tuned.
The kitchen you want today from Bay Cities Construction in the Southern California and Los Angeles area. There is no better company who takes time out of the equation to get you a detailed plan of what your new kitchen will look like. Get your design plans done, your interior design plans done, and entire project scope done right now. Get your finished kitchen in 90 days or less. We are the best in the Los Angeles and Southern California area, and there's no need to shop anywhere else. Just get started with Bay Cities Construction. Go to baycitiesconstruction.com. That's baycitiesconstruction.com. Looking for a bathroom remodel in the Southern California and Los Angeles area? If you've shopped and you've looked at prices and have no clue where to start, let Bay Cities Construction get you started with a quote of get design, interior design, project scope, and know exactly what it will cost to get your bathroom remodeled. There is no guesswork and no need to shop around. Just take time out of the equation and get your new bathroom in 90 days. Get your estimate now at baycitiesconstruction.com. That's baycitiesconstruction.com.
Hey folks, we're back. For those of you watching, please share the stream. I got some coffee and some Home Depot goodies for the first 5 of you. Don't forget to do that. Go ahead and share. All right, so let's talk about what causes time delays. All right, what causes the price to go up? I promised you that I talked to you about what are some of the factors that cause a time and a cost increase. Okay, so here's one of them. This picture on the left where the broom is, let me show you what you're looking at. This right here is where the wall was. Okay, where this pile of wood is, that was the bedroom, kid's bedroom. All right. These 3 vents are the vents for the HVAC system and the water heater that are downstairs. This is a major hassle to relocate, and it's a cost driver. Anything that's infrastructure relocation. I did a bathroom remodel in Manhattan Beach maybe about 6-7 years ago, and we had to move a wall. Well, underneath the wall was the electrical panel, and we had to relocate 17 circuits. Very expensive deal, because it triggers not only the cost of the labor to relocate the circuits, but everything that you touch has to be up to the current code. So a new electrical panel in that case. If we were relocating that panel, we would also have to deal with the new law, which says you have to have arc fault breakers. And those breakers are thicker. They're the breakers that prevent like an arc from occurring when you first plug in an appliance. So all of these things come into play whenever you move a wall. That's why moving a wall, unless you really want to, don't do it. A lot of times to get an open floor plan, that you have to do it. So you just got to be prepared to spend the money to get it done. So in this case, if you notice here on the right, we have a post holding up the ridge beam. That's the ridge beam. All of these skinnies have a ridge beam. And you have to hold that up because that's what's holding up the roof line. So you have to kind of prop things up and, be able to keep things from falling in. It's important. So this is another angle. This is from the living room looking in. And, on the picture on the right is this big PSL beam that we had to put in. Basically, that PSL beam. Whoops, what happened? Oh, sorry, guys. That PSL beam, that had to be engineered. And there's these two huge posts that are in the wall. Can't quite see it now. But those posts, we had to put posts beneath those posts all the way down to the ground. It was like a 3-story deal. We had to break stucco. That PSL beam, since it's a skinny, it didn't fit. We had to break a hole in the stucco on the wall and bring it in through the neighbor side, the neighbor's driveway. It was insane. That beam is about 30 feet, 32 feet, something like that. The cross beam. And see how it sits underneath the ridge, so it transfers the load, this load, which is the load of the span of the living room, it transfers it right onto that point. Then once we did that, then it's kind of a piece of cake to frame in all of this stuff. And what we did is, okay, so this is a tricky part too. When you have two ceiling heights, two ceiling surfaces, you have to make it not look choppy. I'm going to show you a house of a customer, or well, she's not a customer, but she was called to inquire about it. And I'm going to use it as a case study because it's a great example of what a house looks like when it's really choppy, when it's got all these different ceiling heights. Anyway, once you have that beam in, then we wrap it in framing, and then we can get one solid beam or one solid ceiling surface, right? So basically within the footprint of the kitchen and the dining room, the ceiling's going to be the same height. It wasn't before. Notice in this picture here, you see how the ceiling in the kids' room was slanted? Well, now it's not. It's going to be straight. And if you're wondering what this framing is on this back wall, that's a walk-in pantry that we built for them. So it's pretty cool. Like, they don't have a whole lot of clutter and cabinets on the kitchen side, but they do have a walk-in pantry, which is a neat feature and not very commonly built. So this is what it looks like now. You see, now we have all of this stuff all mudded in, meaning we put drywall on it. We've got the big old vent deal. We've got the holes for the recessed lighting. And all of this area is insulated. If you notice the picture before, right, we put insulation. So it's going to help keep the house cool. The rest of the living room isn't insulated. But for those of you that don't have insulation and you've got these exposed beams, you know what I'm talking about. I mean, insulation feels good. On some of these hot days, even though we don't get them so often here in the South Bay, you'll feel the heat radiate from the roof, and it's kind of uncomfortable. So that's going to be a non-issue in this project because all that stuff is wrapped in insulation. So let's look at some of the other projects that we've done. Okay, so this is the case study that I'm using. We didn't do this project. This isn't something we built. But this lady was nice enough to consider us as a contractor for her project, and she sent me over some pictures. By the way, if you have any projects that you want to have me take a look at and give you some feedback, I'd love to do it. You can email me at alex@baycitiesconstruction.com, and we'll post it at the end, so don't worry about that right now. So this is a case study. We talked about remodeling the kitchen, and she had asked me obviously how much and what she thinks it is, and I asked her what her budget was, and we had that very brief conversation over the phone. And she said she had a couple guys over there, and they talked about like 70 or 80,000 or something along those lines. And I told her that if she moves, if she were to remove some of these walls, it would definitely be pushing her into 100K. So I think she got scared off on that because she canceled our meeting for this week, but that's okay. Luckily for her, she does have some plans from when she bought the house, and I was able to see that it looks like this is potentially a load-bearing wall. If you notice here, there's a flush-mounted beam, a 4x10. That's a pretty good sized beam there, and what that's telling me is that it's transferring some of this load here, onto this beam. So if you remove that wall and this wall, that could potentially be a big deal. Okay, and I wanna show you one thing about this picture. You see how the ceiling height is different? You've got this. This is weird. Potentially up against especially up against the wall cabinets. I mean, it looks like what the hell's going on here, right? I mean, you've got exposed cabinets. That stuff collects a ton of dust up there. Cooking grease. It's a real not an optimal situation. Okay, but you still have to deal with these different rooms, right? Because when you remove these walls, the rooms are going to be exposed. The ceiling line. So this is another shot. This is from the living room looking towards the kitchen, and then behind this wall is the dining room. Now, mind you, I didn't go to the house yet. It was kind of a little premature, but she sent me these great pictures, and it was absolutely relevant to our discussion today, or my presentation today, about dealing with these open floor plans and the hassle. It is a freaking hassle. You guys don't understand how hard it is to get this stuff to flow right and to look natural, to look like the house was built like that. So many times I go to these houses and the room looks choppy. You've been there, I'm sure you've seen this, where you walk in and it's like, okay, that's an addition, and that thing there looks like somebody put this wall there. It just doesn't look right. So you got a lot of funky stuff happening there. This house is like the epitome of a candidate for getting really effed up. So I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna maybe bring to light some stuff that you may not notice, but from the trained eye, this is what I see. So this brick fireplace steel, this is in PV. This is super common, where they have this little nook thing here to hold the firewood. And in some of these kitchens, they had a freaking barbecue in the wall. And it wouldn't surprise me if there was something hidden in there, a hidden barbecue somewhere in that wall. Super common. But look at the hearth. The hearth is a legit trip hazard. Look how this pinches this room here, right? So you got to solve that, which brings the question of what to do with the floor. Okay, you remove the wall, you remove the hearth, or you remove those walls. You're gonna have a void. There's no freaking way you're gonna be able to match the floor. It's not gonna happen. You gotta do something about that. So then the question is, are you gonna go laminate? Are you gonna go hardwood? Are you gonna go tile? I don't know, but it's a big area. Now, you're talking about remodeling the kitchen, but if you want to do an open floor plan, the floor's got to be the same, okay? Otherwise, it's going to look like like a quilt, a little collage quilt deal. It's going to look horrible. So don't do that. So you got to consider that you're going to have to deal with a flooring solution that is going to be wearable, that is going to be resistant to water. Like I know some of you want hardwood floors and stuff in your kitchen. It's a catastrophically bad idea, okay? You should figure out a way to not have that. Some of you are super set on it. If you have a little fiasco with the dishwasher where it leaks, you're gonna have a big old blowout. Hardwood is beautiful, and it has its place. The kitchen and the bathrooms are not a place for them. Okay, it's gonna bring you nothing but pain and suffering. So consider that. I don't know. That'll be a design conversation. So you're gonna have, bottom line is you're gonna have to deal with the floor. The next thing is you have to deal with structural framing and how that affects the rest of the room. Structural beams, if you noticed in the previous picture, those beams are huge. You got to hide them in the ceiling, okay? So that creates a condition where the total ceiling height is affected, whether you see the bottom of the beam protrude through the ceiling or not. Like right here, these are flush mounted beams, right? So what does a flush mounted beam mean? Means that it is flush with the ceiling. Okay, this is exposed beam. This is flush mounted beam. All of the framing in here is covered by drywall. But when you open up that whole deal, you're gonna have to deal with how this thing is gonna look. Okay, so you're gonna have to deal with structural framing. You're gonna have to deal with flooring. You got to deal with electrical. There's a ton of electrical and heating stuff in this ceiling. Okay, let me go back in here. I'm going to show you the next project is going to show you this. I'm going to show you an example of the nightmare and framing that you got to deal with. So within this space, so let's say you remove this wall, which is what she was talking about removing, and let's say you remove this wall here. There's infrastructure in that span. Okay, that has to be relocated. I really don't know how much it is. Some of these places are accessible. The attic is accessible, but most of them are not. So we're not going to know how bad it's going to be until we open it up. That's why you got to be prepared. Let's say that our target budget is like $90,000 for this kitchen. It could be that we could get triggered into a $100,000 plus deal based on how much infrastructure stuff's got to be relocated. Okay, so just a suggestion. You got to relocate water. You got to deal with the things that trigger an electrical panel upgrade. In this case, you got to deal with the hearth. You got to deal with the flooring. Some unknowns. A lot of them we can ferret out during the design phase. But I think that if somebody told this nice lady that it was going to be 65 or 70,000 bucks to remodel the kitchen and remove the wall, that's the caveat. You can definitely remodel this kitchen for 65,000 if you're not removing the wall. There's no question about that. The question is, if you remove the wall, how much is it going to trigger the construction costs? And I think it'll easily be above 100K. Hey, if you disagree with me, go ahead and post some comments below. I'd love to see what you think. Or if you agree with me, either one. Okay, this is my next project. So moving on, now we're moving from RPV down to Redondo Beach. This is a pretty good sized project that we finished a few months ago. And so let's talk about like what you're looking at here. So here is where this guy's standing. He's standing really where the wall used to be between the dining room and the kitchen. Okay, and in order to get that, this is a 2-story house. In order to hold up the second story, this is not just the roof line. We had to put this big ass beam, and it is a big ass beam. I think that beam was 27 feet or something like that. Okay, in order to hold the floor joists of the second floor, we had to build a little kind of faux wall and to kind of prop things up. And then we built like a soffit. You see this right here? This is the rim of where the kitchen ends. Guys, it is so hard to deal with this. Okay, to deal with the difference in the ceiling heights. The height of the ceiling in the dining room was different than the kitchen, and it was different than the living room. Look over here. See to the right of this beam? You see how tall this floor is? The floor heights are like 16 feet. So I'm dealing with 3 different heights. God, I wish we had a height. Okay, there you go. So this is a kind of a wide shot. So there's a lot of stuff happening here, right? It's 3 ceiling heights. This kitchen on the first floor had fire sprinklers. The fire sprinklers were set originally when the house was built to the height that it needed to be. Now I had to bring down the ceiling a little bit more so I can line it up. You don't want to have a weird step between the living room and the kitchen, right? So we had to do all this framing to make it look right and to make it look correct so that it didn't look choppy. So this is what we did. I created a soffit here. Okay, this is the beam, the new beam. This big bad boy here is right behind this panel, and it ends right at the corner of this wall. And then we wrapped the whole thing in drywall, and eventually that got wrapped in wood. But those are some of the things we had to deal with. Look at the size. This post, what you're looking at here, this post is this corner post right here. Okay, and you see how the beam dies into it. See how the beam dies into it. Now look, like to add to the level of complexity, the height of where this beam needed to be in relation to the existing top plate. Like that was difficult to be able to make it look like this. You see how it just looks smooth? It looks totally normal with the rest of the space. It took a while. It took a couple meetings, a couple conversations, a lot of head scratching, stuff like that. Okay, now the hidden cost drivers. You open up the walls, open up the ceilings, and you got to deal with craziness. Okay, so this is my craziness that I had to deal with here. This tremendously enormous piece of timber in here. This is a structural member that was used to hold up the balcony that's outside. Okay. Well, at some point, somebody had to repair the balcony outside, and that beam is no longer needed. So you either remove it or leave it in place. We chose to leave it in place. Well, the fact that that beam wasn't attached to anything on this side freaked the building inspector out. He's like, hey, listen, you guys don't have anything in your engineering plans to deal with this. And we're like, okay. When I explain them how it doesn't have any load and this and that, he's like, okay, great, fantastic. Dude, I don't care. Like, you have to get me some paperwork from an engineer saying that what you're saying is true. This leads me to the picture right next to it. You see this thing here? This was a custom ordered steel plate from Simpson to attach the building, the lumber. This is this, right? And this is our new beam. So we had to attach the old with the new, even though there's no freaking load. And the engineer had to draw this up. Okay, so what the hell does this mean? Why is it a cost driver? This whole fiasco at least cost me 2.5 weeks. It cost me about 2 or 3 days of arguing with the, lobbying. He would call it arguing. I would call it lobbying with the city folks about this. And then I had to wait about another week and a half. I think it was like 2 weeks to get some drawings, the engineering drawn up, the drawings sketched out, and for me to get the calcs and all that. Then I had to go to talk to the engineer at the city, have him approve that plan, and then call the building inspector back out and have him approve this, okay? There's no freaking way of knowing this was in there, right? This whole thing, I think we burned a month screwing around with this. I know we did some other work and all that. I mean, it wasn't like we were stopped completely, but for sure, this whole fiasco took about a month to clear up. Okay, so this is part of the hidden cost drivers. I think the engineer kind of hooked us up a little bit on that, but cost-wise, but we still had to, it's a problem. It was a problem. All right, let's look at the ceiling. This is before it was, finished off, and it looks kind of choppy right now. It's still raw, but I wanted to show you this picture because it shows where the fire sprinklers are, and I had to pay somebody to bring them down. Fire sprinkler people cost a lot of freaking money. Okay, a lot of money. This was definitely a change order for the customer. Customer was not happy. I'm not happy because my customer not happy, but we had to do it, and it definitely caused a delay. Okay, I didn't realize we were gonna have to bring the ceiling down so much, and I'm glad that we did because it looks tip top, but it was definitely something that was unexpected, and it was unforeseeable in the initial thing. I mean, mostly because I don't deal with fire sprinklers in most houses. This house had fire sprinklers because it's 2 on a lot in Redondo Beach. When they were built in the 90s, I think it was built in the 90s, the fire sprinklers mandated. So we haven't really, I mean, we've had to cap off fire sprinklers, but in this case, we had to move all of them. I think it was like 12 of them down, and then there were 2 that were out of compliance, like there was issues with the sprinkler head. So anyway, long story short, we had to deal with that, caused the delay, caused the change order, caused a little bit of aggravation. Sucks to be me, sucks to be the homeowner during that experience. All right, this leads us to our last project that I want to talk to you about. It's a case study project, but I want to take a little quick break, and we'll be right back. So stay tuned, don't go anywhere.
Kitchen you want today from Bay Cities Construction in the Southern California and Los Angeles area. There is no better company who takes time out of the equation to get you a detailed plan of what your new kitchen will look like. Get your design plans done, your interior design plans done, and entire project scope done right now. Get your finished kitchen in 90 days or less. We are the best in the Los Angeles and Southern California area, and there's no need to shop anywhere else. Just get started with Bay Cities Construction. Go to baycitiesconstruction.com. That's baycitiesconstruction.com.
Do you want to save thousands on your next kitchen remodel? Do you want to come up with a perfect look for your kitchen remodel? My name is Alex with Bay Cities Construction. Click below today. Hey folks, Alex with Bay Cities Construction here. I'm at one of my job sites to bring you an amazing offer. We have never done anything like this before. $650 will get you a full design. My interior designers will work with you to come up with the best look, help you figure out what it's gonna cost, and tell you how long it's gonna take. All I need you to do is click on right here to take advantage of this offer, $650. If you've been thinking about doing a kitchen remodel and you just haven't been able to start because you don't know how much it's gonna cost, you don't know what it's gonna look like, please take advantage of this offer. I am so confident that you will love our design services, that you will love the look that we will help you come up with. That if you don't like it, I will give you all of your money back, 100% refund, and I'll give you a $100 gift card just for trying us out. If you want to take advantage of this amazing offer, click the link below. Click it right now. My name's Alex of Bay Cities Construction. Click below today.
So we're back. Let's talk about the last project, and then I'm gonna share with you a very special offer. All right, Torrance hidden cost drivers. That's what we're talking about. Okay, so we got the plans done for this place. Okay, it called for some retrofitting of the posts. We're gonna remove this wall, put in a beam, a couple posts. No big deal, pretty standard. This house is a slab foundation deal. Okay, so it's, you got to do a little concrete cutting and stuff like that. All right. So at some point, I drilled in here, and I thought we weren't going to have to do the retrofit. Okay. This was only after, I thought for a moment after the demo that we weren't going to have to do it because I did some test holes. But Johnny Law, the building inspector, wasn't as convinced about that as I was. So he made us open it up, and we had already done the engineering for it, so it wasn't like that. That was going to be an additional cost. But if you look at this hole here on the right, this does look like the hole that Saddam Hussein crawled out of shortly after the war. That hole goes down like 3 freaking feet, and I'm going to tell you why it was such a nightmare to deal with that hole. Watch this. Whoops, sorry. What the hell? Okay. You see this hardwood floor here? We didn't have a match for that. Or it's like a laminate or something, right? We couldn't break that. I could not, and it was glued down. That floor is like freaking in there. So I couldn't break that. So we had to do all the digging from, I don't know why it's doing that. We had to do all the digging from the kitchen side. So I had to break this concrete here. No problem. We'll put in new tile and stuff in there. It's no problem. But I couldn't do any breaking here. Okay. So we did a hole. See how we kept the wood there, and man, we started digging with like the world's smallest shovel. Okay, what a freaking nightmare! We had to do 2 of those holes. 2. Well, the holes got done, the beams got put in, and the kitchen's built out, and we'll probably do a video on that. In a couple weeks and show you that kitchen. That kitchen's actually looking pretty good. We're kind of we're wrapping that kitchen up right now and looking forward to finishing it. So let's show you what you need to do to get started. So hey folks, you've seen that there's a lot of unknowns, right? There's a lot of unknowns in the construction process. So for Christ's sake, don't hire the contractor because of an estimate that you got from a 30-minute meeting. Hire somebody that you feel you can work with, that you can trust, that knows their stuff, particularly somebody who's local. If you live down here in the South Bay, do not hire somebody from the Valley, okay? They don't understand how things work down here, so it's going to cause you a little bit of grief, okay? So don't do that. There's plenty of good local guys. In fact, I think on our website we've put together we did a blog article on the best contractors in the South Bay. If you Google like best contractors in South Bay or something, you'll see a blog article. And these are some folks that are reputable and are probably can handle your job with relatively no problems. Okay. An interior designer, you definitely want to know what you're gonna put into your project so that you can identify the cost. If you work off of an estimate, okay, that person has no idea what you actually want in the space. Okay, like this kitchen remodel that we just did, the one I just showed you where we had the Saddam Hussein hole, that kitchen, the guy ended up choosing like a $4,000 faucet and a $30,000 sink. Okay, that's way out of the norm for most of the kitchens that we do. I mean, most of the time it's like a $1,000 faucet or a $1,000 sink. So understand that there's no way for the contractor to know what you want unless you have a design done, so that we can actually, that person, we or the contractor, can give you a price quote based on the actual stuff going in your place. So we're running a special deal for you guys. I want to kind of share that with you. $650. We'll do for $650. We'll put together a full design for you. We'll do a kitchen layout, floor plan, help you pick out your plumbing fixtures, your cabinetry, your countertops, backsplashes, figure out the lighting situation, figure out the electrical situation, figure out if you need a panel or you don't, stuff like that. Try and ferret out as much of those unknowns as possible. Have you think about what it is that you'd like and what you'd like it to look like. We'll work off of some inspiration pictures. If you have a file going on Pinterest or on House or any of those types of website, send it over to us. We'll start putting together materials that are in your price point that look like the inspiration pictures. That's how we get started. So for $650, we'll do the kitchen remodel, everything you need to identify the cost of the kitchen. If you do not like our design, I'll give you your money back. If at the end of the design phase you feel like we're not a match, I'll give you your money back. If I feel we're not a match, I'll give you your money back. And you can keep the design, my gift to you, no problem, no hard feelings. Okay, so think about that. Think about that offer. It's a really cool offer. Typically we charge $18.50 for this, but we're doing this to make sure that we can book the entire summer. I want to have our crews booked all the way through Christmas. Okay, so that's my game plan, and that's one of the reasons we're offering this offer to you. Okay, if you want to know a little bit more about me, you should do some research about me before we meet. I want you to take a look at the reviews online. Take a look at our website, BayCitiesConstruction.com. We have a gallery page on there. We have a bunch of blog articles. We have 350, I think it's almost 400 blog articles about remodeling, kitchen, bathroom remodeling, all kinds of remodeling articles on there. So you can do a little bit of research. I want you to know who you're hiring, and if you're considering us, I'd love to talk to you. This is what we can do for you. When we say you're hiring a team of pros, it's true. We offer interior design services, architecture, engineering. We'll represent you with the city, and we'll do your project management. Okay, this is Steve, my lifelong friend and project manager, and it's me holding on. We went to a seminar a few months. I kind of took a silly picture holding up that big steel column. If you want to contact us, you want to know where we are, we're in Torrance. We're located in the CAD West building off of Hawthorne Boulevard. That's our office number there. My name's Alex Rodriguez, inviting you to do a little bit of research, see what people are saying about us on Yelp and House and that type of stuff. I want to thank you for being part of this, for visiting and being with us during the show. For those of you that commented, thank you very much. For those of you that have some questions, please post them on there. And remember, I'd love to give these away, so go ahead and share. First 5 shares get a freebie from me. We'll be back here next Tuesday at 5:30 to talk about other construction related projects. We typically are talking about, we're going to start doing some product reviews, so I think that you guys will find that interesting. Do we have any questions? Actually, before we go, I'd like to answer some questions. Brian, do we have anything?
We do have some of the most common questions that we encounter with homeowners.
Okay, cool.
And one of the most common question is, can I buy the materials myself?
Yes, you can. You can definitely buy the materials yourself, but you can't work with us if you buy the materials yourself. And there's a good reason for that. You're not qualified to do that, okay? You're probably going to buy something that's out of stock, something that's cheap, something that I can't match, something that's got some kind of weird defect, all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to save you from you, and let me pre-screen your materials to make sure you're getting the right stuff for the right application.
Another common question is, how long does a kitchen remodel project take?
That's a great question. It is a common question. If you are removing walls, it's going to be closer to 3 months. If you're not removing walls, it could be 6 to 8 weeks. Just depends. But construction time, we're talking construction time, not like, downtime waiting for plans and all that. Actual construction time.
Another question we see is, people ask if they can live in their home during construction. I
would say 90% of the people that we remodel live in the place. Very few The projects that are larger, like we're working on 2 large projects now, they're too big. The people just bought the house. They haven't moved in yet. They're gonna wait till the whole deal gets done.
Another common question is, I have a small kitchen. Do you only work on large projects like the ones you showed?
We work on all kinds of projects. The more important thing is I don't look at the dollar figure. I look at that we're a match. So it's important for you and I to be able to get along well, trust each other, feel good about working with each other. It's one of the cool things about being self-employed is you can kind of be a little selective like that. Just like you can be selective on who you can hire. And I urge you to consider that to be one of the key components on who you pick. Okay, make sure you can get along with them, you feel comfortable with them, you trust them, and that you feel comfortable with them coming into your house. You know, that's a big level of trust. So think about that. I sure do.
Another question that we usually get is, will remodeling my kitchen affect my property taxes?
Not unless you're adding. Adding is what really triggers the property tax deal. You get kind of reassessed sometimes. But typically inside remodels, no assessment. Even though you'll get the little paper from the county recorder's office and stuff. I'll help you fill that out. But that's not going to cause you to get reassessed. If we don't have anything else, let's wrap up this show. See you next week at 5:30. Same bat channel, same bat time. My name's Alex Rodriguez with Bay Cities Construction, reminding you do not need a contractor. You need a team of pros. My name's Alex Rodriguez, reminding you don't need a contractor. You need a team of pros. Hey folks, Alex right here. I'm not done with you yet. For $650, follow the link below. Let's get your plans going. If you want to get your your kitchen designed and you want to get started right away, let's get started. Follow the link below. We're going to set it up for you. You can lock in the price, $650. Hey, this thing's going to expire. As soon as I get all the work that we need, we'll go back to the original price, and you'll have to pay that later if you want us to hire us. Look, at $650, it's a deal anyway. Okay, if you don't like the design we come up with, I'll give you your money back. If you don't think that we're a good company to work with, I'll give you your money back. It's a no risk offer to you. You will get a beautiful, beautiful design that you will love. So if you're ready to get started, meet with me. I'll give you a 1-hour free consultation. We'll talk about your project. We'll talk about your budget. We'll talk about any concerns that you have. All you have to do is click the link below and book your meeting with me. See ya. My name's Alex Rodriguez, reminding you don't need a contractor. You need a team of pros.